Hello, this video is going to talk you through how to calculate a difference from average, and that's specifically an average within a selection. So the first thing we want to do is find the length of the bar and then take the difference from this average reference line here. But then we also want, upon making a selection, the average to recompute across that selection, and then we take the difference between each bar and this new recalculated average. Now, at the moment, it's not currently possible to actually take that and store and persist and reuse the value generated from these reference lines. But because we can persist the selection into a set and use that in a calculation, we have another mechanism for actually computing that 634 million there and using it in another difference from average calculation. So therefore, the first thing to do is to create a set on the country, or alternatively on the team, and then update that with values from our selection. So we'll go ahead and add a worksheet action here to change the set values. And then what's going to happen is, as I pick these countries here, you'll see that they get added to the set. So there we go, Poland, Senegal, and Serbia. So great. So now what we want to do is just return the bar for that selection and not for the unselected values, because then we can just take the average across those three bars. So we can do that with a calculation that conditionally returns the market value. So we want to say if the country's in the team, which is what set is in out, so in means true, essentially. So that's why you can use a set as your conditional clause in a calculation. Then we want to return the market value. Otherwise, we want it to be null. And this is crucial to keep it null and not zero, because if you put 0 there, your average will be very skewed towards 0. And so now let's go ahead and see what that does. So as we make a selection, you can see that it's just giving you the bar value for that selection. So now the next thing to do is to calculate the average across those three bars. And this is what table calculations let you do. A table calculation will take aggregated, like summary data in your visualization and then perform another aggregation across that summary result. And so if we go ahead then and create another calculation here where we take the window average of, actually maybe it's clearer if I do this. We want to take the window average of this. And so it's the first level of aggregation is to group the market value by country, and then the second level of aggregation is to take the average across countries. So this is now your average of selection. Okay, and so then we can go and bring this in here. And one thing you'll notice is that this value here, this 294 million, is exactly equal to the value of that reference line, which is correct. That's what you would expect. And then if we go and make a selection here, our new reference line is 804 million, and that's exactly what you're seeing over here as well. So you can actually use Tableau in some instances to validate that your numbers are right. Okay, so then the final bit is to actually take the difference from average. So that's take your market value and then subtract the average from it. And then we can go and persist that to our data model. And let's call this the difference from average. More crucially, it's the difference from the average selected values. Okay, and then just add it to color, and now we have our nice visualization. Now, depending on your tolerance, one thing you'll notice here is that as you start to make selections, it's only highlighting the values that are selected, which makes loads of sense because you want to see what you picked. But it highlights them across the entire visualization. So now that amazing spectrum of color is kind of dimmed by the highlighting behavior. So that may be okay, but if you want the selection and highlighting to behave differently for each of these different pills, the easiest way to do that is to just have them in separate sheets. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this, keep the difference in one, and then just have the actual value in the other. And then we can go ahead and combine these two in a dashboard. Since the sort's the same, we can just hide the header here and hide the field labels here so that they line up one by one. And so now, oh, I must have a selection here, so let me just unclick that. All right, so now as we start to make different selections, you can see that it's recalculating and giving you that full, beautiful spectrum of color. So great. That's going to work in a lot of cases, but I'm going to cover all the bases here. Now, I don't want you guys to go away and realize, hey, this doesn't work on my data, because maybe instead of having 32 values, you have 1,000 values, and then you have scroll bars. And if you have these in separate sheets, your scroll bars won't synchronize. So no problem. In that situation, we also have a solution. So we're going to go through in the next video and demonstrate how to recreate that from scratch. But first, I'm just going to use our unlimited undo button and go back to the point where we had both of these in the same sheet.